everyone. This is Steve Rosenberg with Mynd Property Management, and I am joined here with my good friend Enrique Jevons, who is the Regional Director of Mynd Property Management for the Pacific Northwest Division. Enrique, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you. Good to see you again, Steve.
Yeah, you too. So what I want to talk about today, you and I are both investors. We've dealt with all kinds of residents and challenges. When you have a disruptive resident, how is the best way, if I'm an investor and I'm new to this, you and I both have heard some horror stories of altercations and stuff going on. What is the best way to handle a disruptive tenant?
Yeah, so unfortunately it does happen. And so the thing of it is that just by human nature, people are not very confrontational. You know, nobody really likes confrontation, right? And so unfortunately, what happens a lot of times with landlords is that the resident is behaving badly, and especially worse if you've got a multifamily property and you've got one tenant that's behaving really badly there. What ends up happening is that landlords are just reluctant to, get involved. They think, well, c'est la vie, let them, do whatever they want. They're paying their rent on time, so what do I care if they're, obnoxious, making a huge ruckus, or that the cops are coming over all the time, type of a thing. The reality is that things only go downhill. So as soon as somebody's behaving badly, you've got to nip it in the bud. You got to enforce your lease. And that's, why property management companies are very good in that respect.
Why we exist.
It is a business. It's a business. Yeah. And so if you've got a property that you're self-managing, the one thing you really want to do is treat it as a business. Try not to become emotional about the situation. Nip it in the bud, get on it right away. Don't let it fester, because you let it fester, then also what happens is then when you finally do approach the tenant, you start charging at them, coming at them.
Now it's an emotional situation.
What the hell's going on here? Yeah. And of course the tenant is going to immediately be defensive and say, the hell with you. So you got to make sure that you treat it as a business. Make sure that you look for in your lease the laws for example, in the state of Washington, you can serve a 10-day notice to comply. Okay. Which you always should anytime an individual is not complying with the lease, or not complying with state law, or not complying with the HOA or city ordinances, whatever the restrictions are. Make sure that you document it and that you then serve notice, whatever applicable notice is for the location where your property is. Okay. You need that documentation because, of course, if it does rise to be a bigger problem, the court is going to ask for documentation, right? So they want to see in writing. They don't want to hear you just rambling off about this or that. They just want to see what the facts are. And generally, they want to see what the facts are on paper. They want evidence. Sure. You have to have that documentation, that evidence, which again means you got to treat it like a business. So that's where it's very important to either commit to doing that, or you get somebody else who can do that for you. One of the other nice things about management companies, that's just an added layer of protection legally. You can, let your property manager know, hey, you know what? My neighbor called me. He said that tenants in my property are acting up. Can you go out there and take care of it? And that way the property manager can go be the face, go take care of it in a very non-emotional, professional manner.
And, one of the things I've told many, many landlords that get emotional is the last thing you should ever do is text message your tenant in the heat of battle of a discussion, because I've never met a landlord standing in front of a judge that says, that is what I meant at that moment when I was upset to say that to the tenant. Because again, you got to think about this. Who is going to be reading this text message? If you go to court, what did you say? Because that's when it's going to come back to you.
Yep, texts are definitely admissible. It is possible to screenshot them, to print them. So don't think just because you've deleted it that it's
on
gone.
Your side. Yeah.
The other side can still have a copy of that. So make sure that anything you put in writing, whether it's texting, it's emailing, a letter in the mail, a handwritten note that you go and, give them or post on their door, all of that is admissible evidence. So you always want to make sure that everything you do is in a non-emotional way, and it's always enforcing the lease. Do it consistently, and you never have a problem. It's when you either let a problem fester, especially a multifamily unit, because then all your surrounding good tenants then are going to move out.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not going to put up with it.
Yep.
And then you're left with bad tenants only, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want that to happen either. You also don't want to have an issue where you're not enforcing, and then, it's the final straw and you decide, I just can't take it anymore. And so you go out there and you tell them, you're out of here. And they say, what the heck are you talking about? We've always done this.
Yeah, you set a precedent by allowing that to happen. Yeah, so I think the moral of this, and this is great, this is a whole podcast show really, but the moral of this is that you're running a business. It's not emotional. You have to go by the lease agreement. And I always tell landlords, if you put it in the lease, you better enforce it. Don't put it in the lease that you have all this strict verbiage and then you don't enforce it, because it's a contract. If they don't comply, you have to comply. That's a contract. So, again, I think it's great. Some of the things you said, you've been in this business a while. I've been in it a while. There's just so many things to learn that emotions never solve the problem. Think about it. You're running a business. It's non-emotional. They're not doing something vindictive to you. If they're disruptive, run it by the letter of the law, which is your lease agreement, and know that if you don't like that, dealing with that, that's when you call someone like Enrique. You have him take over the property. You do something like that, or you just talk to him and say, what's the best situation? So Enrique, if somebody did want to talk to you about the best case scenario and talk to you about disruptive tenants, how do they do that?
Yeah, definitely send me an email. I'm happy to, answer any questions, give any advice, that sort of thing. Chances are I've been through it before. So send me an email at enrique.jevons@mynd.co. So ENRIQUE.JEVONS@MYND.CO.
And if you want to join our Facebook group, we have a Mynd Facebook group. It's called the Mastermind Real Estate Investment Club, and Mind is spelled MYND. There's investors in there. Enrique and myself are both in there, along with a lot of other very serious investors, where you can talk, engage, converse, and again, just have conversations with people like us. If you want to go to our website, go to mind.co, MYND.co. This is Steve Rosenberg and Enrique Jevons. I want to thank everyone for watching today, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.